Hello and welcome to another Morning Mondays. This is episode 88. Although I have to do a quick channel update and I'm going to have to address the elephant in the room, which is this video is not coming out on a Monday, it's coming out on a Tuesday. So no, you're not going mad there. And I just want to do a quick address and, like I said, channel update regarding the rate of release and the schedule. So over lockdown, when I had a lot more time, I was just working from home, I was able to bang out the content daily, and I was able to get the content out at 6 o'clock every single day, and times were good. But times are also good, but in a different way now, which means that COVID restrictions in the UK are pretty much lifted now, which is good. But the disadvantage of that from a gaming perspective, from a YouTube perspective, is that I'm now back in the office full time, and the time that I had in my routine, which was I'd finish work and then I have between an hour and a half to do my recording and uploading, that is now not there anymore because I'm in the office more and there's commuting and there's all that kind of stuff. So the rate of release, I have to say, has suffered somewhat. Those of you who've been following the last few weeks, videos have been coming out. First it was 6:30, then it was 7, then it was 8 o'clock. So the plan is, guys, is that I'm going to try and release videos 3 times a week rather than daily, and I will try my best to get them out at 7 o'clock instead of 6 o'clock every single day. We're going to have to be a bit more flexible, but that's going to be my aim. Now, fingers crossed, I'll actually be able to get a little bit more organised and be able to get all my recording done at the weekend, which was the original plan when I went back into the office full time. The only reason that's not happened is that I've been going to a lot of events over the last few weeks, and there's been loads and loads of updates and releases with 40k that I've been trying to follow, keep my finger on the pulse a little bit more with the competitive meta, and because of that, it means that it's difficult. I used to be able to do, when there wasn't much happening, there's no tournaments or anything, I used to be able to do all my recording on Sunday, and it would stay relevant throughout the rest of the week. But now with the release schedule and with all the events and all the FAQs and controversies and drama and all good stuff and bad stuff, it just means that if I do too much recording in one go, I end up releasing stuff that's not really relevant or out of date. That's how quickly the sort of changing state of 40k is these days. So that's a bit of an update. 2 minutes of channel update. We'll leave it there. Let's get on with what you're all here for, which is the hobbying side of things and just general Warhammer chit chat. So, what have I been working on over the last few weeks? Well, if you guessed Scions, it was a very easy guess, but if you guessed Scions, you are correct. So, I have been working on my airborne element and many other elements, but the big focus over the last couple of weeks has been the Valkyries, and I got those done, and now I have 2 Valkyries which have been restored, sort of restored, to their former glory. You see, these are actually the 2 Valkyries that I've had in my guard collection for a really long time. I got both of them in 6th edition. First one I got as a birthday present from my brother, and then the second one I got, I actually came second in a local tournament and got a load of... I actually placed a few times in a local tournament. I saved up my... you got store credit if you did well in the tournament, and I saved up a fair bit of store credit, and then I got myself a second Valkyrie for next to nothing. So that was really, really good. So that's what I've had these for a long time, since since the beginning of 6th edition, when they first introduced flyers with proper flying rules. And they've always been they weren't painted great. This was back before I gave a damn about painting. And when I say I've sort of restored them, I have to hold my hands up here, guys. My Scion colour scheme has been a bit down and dirty, a bit rough and ready. And I had to get these 2 Valkyries ready in time for last week's event, which was the Bring the Ruckus event. And so I was a bit naughty, guys. I didn't strip the models. I just base coated them again properly. So the first time I actually painted them, I didn't base coat them. I just literally painted the 2 layers straight onto the plastic. And I thought, well, I don't want to strip these guys off, and I don't want to, because I don't have time, but I want them to look fairly uniform. And I realised that my Scion colour scheme, because it's basically a black base coat with then a dark blue in other bits, it's really good at hiding bad detail. It's a real lazy painter's dream come true. So what I realised is, it'll be fine. I'll spray paint them black. That'll cover up most of the dodgy paint job, and then I'll go over it with some blue bits and then some metallic bits. And I was actually able to get these 2 Valkyries done in 1 day. That's right, I got them both done in 1 day, which is pretty impressive. I mean, it was basically a full day of painting on the Saturday before the tournament. So it wasn't for that was where all my recording time went. But I did get them done, which is great. And it's a really simple colour scheme. So like I said, you spray painted them all black. And then I realised that no one's going to see the underneath of the model. So I just painted the top bit. And I as you can see, I painted the blue on the wings and on the nose cone. That's one colour. And then I did the jump jet bits and the main engines. They were done an iron breaker. Just slapped on a rough, dirty coat of iron breaker. Did a bit of bronze for the wires. That's colour number 3 if you include the base coat. Then bit of gold on the eagle and then red for the cockpit, and that was it. Washed it all down in Nuln oil on the metallics and Drakenhof Nightshade for the blue, and then Caribou Crimson for the red, and that's 2 Valkyries smacked together in the case. And you know, it took me a full day to be fair because of a bit of big surface area there, but yeah. It's amazing how quickly you can paint stuff when you keep the colour scheme simple, and it has really made me appreciate how complicated I have made my Great Mordian Restoration paint scheme, which is funny because that's a Horde army which I'm painting to the best of my ability, and this is an Elite army which I am slapping the coats together. So I think I may have got that one a bit wrong. I got that the wrong way around, but yeah, no, I have to say, it just made me also appreciate how much better my Mordian 50th rifles look over my Scions. With the Scions, they get away with a lot because it's a really dark colour scheme. But I have to say, when you put the 2 models side by side, all the extra effort that goes into the Mordian 50 rifles, you can see it. So it's good. It's good. This is just my tabletop ready army, and it's kind of cathartic. It's kind of nice to just paint something to tabletop standard and not worry about it too much. But there is not as much satisfaction as I get from seeing a beautifully painted Mordian squad. So, you know, swings and roundabouts, I suppose. But with these 2 Valkyries done, I was able to complete my 2,000 point take all comers Scion army, and that went to the event, and it did okay. So that was really, really good. But also, I've made a little bit of progress in just clearing my pile of shame. So something that I've not really mentioned over the last few weeks is that I've been really good at not buying new Warhammer models. I've bought a few bits here and there, and I've bought some paintbrushes and paint, stuff like that. But by and large, I've been quite good at not just splurging loads of money on Warhammer models and just building up the pile of shame. And I've actually been focused on trying to clear out and make a big dent in multiple parts of my model backlog. And I was wanting a little bit of a break from the Mordian 50 rifles, but I still wanted to get guard stuff done and do guard painting for the channel. And that's where the Scions are coming in. And those of you who have followed me over the last few weeks know that I've been churning these Scion models out. And I have gone from having like 3 squads, 4 squads maybe, and no company command, no officers. So let's say basically 3 squads and 3 Torx Primes, and that was pretty much it. So I've now got 12 squads, 3 Torx Primes, and 2 Valkyries, and 3 Tempesta Primes for this force, all painted up. And I've been able to sub in some models from the Mordians, so I've got the Ogrins and the Commissars and stuff like that from there. But the point is that I've made a huge dent, and I've actually almost finished. That was just the models I needed for the list, and I've gone one step further. And I said, you know what? Let's get all of these Scions finished. Let's actually clear the Scion backlog. And I'm very close to finishing that, guys. So all I have left to do to complete this Scion, well, force. I mean, it's the force itself is finished, but to complete my backlog of Scions, all I have is I've got 11 models, special weapons and some sergeants and whatnot, which just need Nuln oil putting on the base. I've already Astro granted them, and I just need to put Nuln oil on them. It's a 5-minute job. I've then got another 8 models, which is pretty much all hotshot volley guns, which I've had all the paints done, they just need the washes done. Again, that's a couple of episodes of Stargate, a couple of hours, and that's done. And then I've got a 3 Kazakin, and that need basically painting properly. 3 unpainted models. And to be fair, the reason they're unpainted, there aren't special weapons that I don't really want, so they've got 2 grenade launchers and a flamer, but I thought, if I'm going to clear this army, let's clear it. And if I get all that done, then I will have painted every plastic Scion and every metal Kazakin in my backlog. That is a huge dent made in my guard collection, in my guard backlog. These Scions have been a half-done project for a really, really long time. And I've even taken it a step further, and I actually have an old Inquisitor Courtiers model, which is mostly done, but I want to finish him off. And I'm going to add him to the force, and I'm going to base him and everything, so that when I use a double smite Inquisitor, I'll have a proper model for it. And Courtiers can be the Inquisitor for my Scions, and then the other Ordo Malleus Inquisitor, I've got the old Demon Hunter one with the big book, the Grimoire. He's based and in the same colours as my Mordians, and so what I'll have two Inquisitors, one that's overlooking my Mordians, and one that's overlooking my Scions. Or overlooking, watching over, whatever you want to call it. So yeah, really close to getting this finished. I mean, basically, I've got the washes to do on some models, not a long job, and I've got 3 models that need painting basically from scratch, and I've got an Inquisitor that needs finishing off. And that's it. And I hope I get all that done this week, which should be absolutely fantastic. And then, who knows what I'll move on to next. I may stick with the Scions, but instead I'll start working on the 2nd Regiment. So I've mentioned in passing a couple of times that I've been working on a 2nd Regiment. And the 2nd Regiment is all my old school, classic, 3rd edition metal stormtroopers. Now they're actually going to make up more of a platoon than a whole separate force, and they're going to make up models for my Mordian 50th Rifles, and they're going to be part of what I call the Assault Corps. So for those of you that have been following the Mordian Restoration Project for a long time, you'll know that I came up with this idea of the Assault Corps. It's a fluffy bit of fluff for the army, which is, as the Mordian 50th Rifles have absorbed more and more regiments, because the way the fluff works is they take in remnants of other regiments to maintain their fighting strength, because they're pure infantry regiments, so they're always needing replacements. Can't always get them from Mordian. So as they've done this, they've adapted some of the traits from those regiments, and this, real world wise, just explains why I've got loads of converted Cadians alongside original metal Mordians. And one of the things that they have absorbed, one of the sort of cultures that they've adopted, is like the Kazakin style culture, because the Kazakin are from Cadia, and they are basically, they're not actual Militant Tempestus Scions. They've not gone off to the, Scholar Progenium and all that kind of stuff. They are just the best of the Cadian regiments. And the Assault Corps is basically the best of the Mordian 50th Rifles, and they get their own separate company, basically. And that's why they're in the old 3rd line gear, because that's basically what they've been given. Oh, if you want your own special stormtroopers, you're not getting the best gear. Here you go. Have a bunch of old third line reserve gear. So that's where the 2 regiments will come. So I'll have, if I want to do Scion Soup, I'll have some options there, because I'll have the full Scion force, which will be the black and blue guys, and they'll have all the different special weapons they could possibly need. But then if I want to ally in some Iotan Gorgons or some Capic Eagles or something else, and I want to use a different colour scheme for them, then I'll have another 60 or so Scions with various special weapons in a separate colour scheme, and then that'll be my 2 regiments. But also, the 2nd Regiment will look good and be able to operate alongside my Mordian 50th Rifles. So it really allows me a lot of flexibility. So I'll have a standalone regiment with all the trimmings, all the Tauroxes and Valkyries and special weapons and officers that I could possibly need, and then I'll have a second sort of half regiment which I can use as a patrol to soup in with the main Scion regiment, but also to soup in with the regular guard forces as well. So it'll all look good. It'll all be great. So that's kind of the plan on terms of the modelling front and the force front and the tactics for that as well. So there we go. Now, I've said what I'm going to be working on, in the future for these guys, getting these finished off. And then I probably will want to expand the force ever so slightly. And I'm looking to expand them by getting myself a few more Taurox primes. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to get 2 more just regular old Taurox primes and just have them on their own. And then I might get 1 more start collecting set for the Scions as well, because I have an odd number of special weapons and I want to have a nice even number, so I'll have 10 hotshot volley guns rather than the 9 that I currently have, and I'll have I have an even number of all the special weapons that I'll be interested in. And then that would be enough, and then that would be the final force that I would actually have 6 Taurox Primes, 2 Valkyries, and approximately, well, I've got 60 there, plus I have about 100 regular, about 100 Scions, about, you know, maybe about 90 Scions. And that should be enough. That should addition-proof me. I'll have an absolute boatload of Melter, I'll have an absolute buttload of Plasma, and a shed load of hotshot volley guns, and then there's a little seasoning of flamers and grenade launchers just in case they become relevant. And then yeah, I have all the officers and characters and whatnot that I'll need. And the way I'm going to try and do the vehicles, so they'll be magnetized and whatnot, so it'll be great. And then then that should be my meta Scions force. So it's something I've mentioned in another video, but very quick highlight, which is the way I'm looking at taking the Scions is to actually drop the flyers. I know I've just finished them and I'm going to drop them, typical. But actually go drop the flyers and instead go for a force that has many, many more deep strikers and many, many more Taurox Primes. So I'll actually end up dropping the flyers and the Bulgrin and instead having 6 Taurox Primes and about 80 infantry. And, you know, about 60 of that infantry is going to deep strike in, and it's all going to be with it's just going to be great, because what that means is that I can use the Taurox Primes to clear any screens turn 1, and I'll have enough Taurox Primes that I can take a punch back. You know, if I even lose 3 of them, it's not the end of the world. And then turn 2, the drop force will come in, and it will start. Turn 2 will absolutely punch the lights out of them. Turn 3, follow up with another punch. And yeah, really start playing to the strength of the Scions. And then if I keep some infantry back in the Tauroxes, there'll be a, you know, a little turn 4 tickle and turn 5 sort of tickle as well in terms of firepower as well. So that's kind of what we're hoping to do. And I think that's possibly one of the best ways to run Scions. We'll have to play it by ear though, of course, because we want to have a little think. With that force, I wouldn't have any close combat capabilities. And I definitely want some close combat. Although I'm starting to look at Crusaders, just a single, like maybe squad of 10, because when it comes to close combat capability, what I really want to be able to do is basically be able to do 3 wounds in the combat phase reliably. And I want to be able to do that because of things like Catan and Gazgul, who can, you know, those units that can only take 3 wounds a phase. I'll need to be able to operate in the combat phase in order to do that. So I need to figure that out, or I just need to accept that I'll just be kiting them. Love to see how it goes. Anyway, let me know what you guys think. Well, if you have got to this video, one thing I would like my viewers to do is to suggest a name for this force, because I want to call it Task Force something. Now, I originally was thinking of like Task Force Lazarus, but then I remembered that I'd called my Black Temple Crusade the Lazarus Crusade, and I don't think I can keep calling everything Lazarus. But definitely, you know, I thought maybe Task Force Tantalus. That would be kind of cool. Basically, it wants to sound cool and kind of based on mythology or, you know, biblical or something like that. So if you've got any cool suggestions, preferably with something that ends with us, so like Lazarus or Tantalus, that would be pretty cool. But I'm open to all suggestions, and whichever one I think is the best, I'll go for that one. Currently, I'm thinking Tantalus. I'm sure that's from old-timey, that's mythology. Greek mythology? I think it's Greek. Could be Roman. But yeah, any suggestions? Very much open to it. If you do put some suggestions and they are mythology related, then put a little bit of, you know, context about that mythology, and then that'd be really, really cool to help me make my decision. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching, and of course, I'll see you guys next time.